Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training. Here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about your best tool isn't in your bag, it's not in your shed, it's not on your practice plan, it's not in your stat book, it's between your ears. Every coach I know is always looking for an edge, whether that's better drills, better data, better development plans, better players. But here's what we miss. Our mindset determines how much we value Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training. Here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about your best tool isn't in your bag, your equipment shed, on your practice plan. It's between your ears. Every coach I know is looking for an advantage. Better drills, better data, better development, better players. But here's what we miss. Our mindset determines how much value we get out of everything else that we do. It shapes what we notice, it shapes what we expect, it shapes how we explain successes and failures, it shapes how our body responds under pressure. This is the tool, this mindset that we need to be evaluating every day, every play, and every way. Research consistently shows that the same information can help or hurt performance depending on how it's interpreted. I've mentioned in the past Dr. Alia Crum and her work on mindset because it's so important to performance. Her work demonstrates that expectations don't just change our thoughts, they change our physiological responses. They change the way we make decisions. They change our behavior. In other words, data, information, whatever we do doesn't drive performance by itself. It's the meaning that we assign to what we do that does. I've been thinking a lot about this, about stats, videos, analytics, because I get to spend the weekend at the American Baseball Coaches Association National Convention this weekend down in Columbus with Game Changer. You've heard of Game Changer. It's the app that scores about 99% of all youth baseball and softball games across the country. And don't worry if you're not a softball or baseball, travel ball coach or high school coach, volleyball, basketball, soccer, they're coming to you next. I know college coaches, you have your own people for that stuff, but Game Changer is huge. But data is really useful until it's not. Understanding how we can use it to our advantage is, well, it's an advantage. We know that coaches can look at the same numbers. One sees confirmation of growth and opportunity. The other sees pressure, threat, failure. I've felt it myself before. Same data, different thoughts, different behaviors, different outcomes. And attentional research tells us why. What we focus on expands. When attention narrows toward fear or toward mistakes or don't mess this up, our body tightens and our reactions slow. When attention is directed toward controllables, toward solutions and next actions, coordination and decision making both improve. This is why pressure isn't really not the villain, right? If pressure alone ruined performance, no one would ever have a career day. They wouldn't have a walk-off hit. They wouldn't have a season best outing. Pressure only becomes a problem when our focus drifts to the wrong information at the wrong time, plain and simple. That's why mindset isn't a soft skill. It's an operating system that determines how stats, scouting reports, feedback, technology, drills, how they actually get used. Data and what we do is neutral, right? What we train, the questions we ask determines their effect. When reviewing stats, video feedback, or whatever else, if we want to get the most out of it, we need to train ourselves and our players to ask one of these three questions before they react. It's like we're practicing our response ability. Pretty cool, right? Here's a question. What does this tell us about what's working? This question directs our attention toward confidence, evidence, and repeatable behaviors, what we want to do again. Question number 2, what's the next controllable adjustment that we can make? This shifts our attention away from outcome and toward action. Akron, that's where I am, action. Question number 3, what do we want to notice the next time? This programs our attention forward, which research shows that improves learning and performance under pressure when we're looking ahead. Studies on attentional control and expectancy effects show that the brain and body respond faster and more efficiently when focus is directed toward solutions and controllables rather than error avoidance. We're not ignoring problems. We're framing them in a way that the nervous system can actually handle so that we can perform. So here's a challenge. This week, catch yourself the moment that data triggers frustration or urgency. This could be for a salesperson too. Data's everywhere. We can pause, we can ask a better question, and then we can watch how the conversation in our head or between other people and the energy within or around us shifts. That's mindset in action. So back to the weekend. I will be at the National Baseball Coaches National Convention with Game Changer on their stage, the Game Changer stage, on Friday and Saturday at 11:40 in the morning, both days. And we're going to talk about how we can use data better along with our mindset. We're going to talk about how expectations and attention change performance in real time. We're going to talk about why information becomes pressure only when the focus is misdirected. We're going to talk about how we can help athletes use data as feed forward, not scary feedback or fuel for self-doubt. And we're going to talk about simple tools that we can use immediately to help their teams, their parents, and everyone in the organization. So if you don't coach baseball and you know a baseball coach, or if you're a baseball coach, come and see me. Tell your baseball coach, hey, Julie Jones, 11:40, Game Changer stage. Send them over to see me. Because the teams that separate late in games aren't necessarily more talented. They're more intentional with where their focus goes and how they interpret information, plain and simple. Same players, same data, different operating systems. So again, ABCA National Convention, Columbus, Ohio, 11:40 a.m. on the Game Changer stage. We're going to be digging into, quickly, in short snippets, how we can better use data connected to a mindset that works for us to improve our performance. I hope you had a great start to 2026. I look forward to sharing more tips throughout the year. And if you're in Columbus this weekend, hit me up. I'd love to have a conversation. Until next week, have a great week, or not. The choice is yours.